1861. Whispering Pines, Arizona Territory. The wind hit the salt flats at noon and did not stop. Cassandra Miller pressed her back against the door of the trading post and felt the whole building shudder. Dust poured through every crack. Outside, a roof tile spun past like a playing card thrown by a gambler with a grudge. She had promised the town a school if they backed her homestead claim. But right now, she wondered if there would be a town left to teach. The storm had come fast, trapping everyone indoors, and the air tasted like salt and fear. She was 32, bold enough to stand in front of the territorial council and demand a school charter. Funny enough to make the miners laugh when she served them coffee. And lonely enough that she had not realized it until a man with quiet eyes and a railroad cook's apron walked into her life 3 weeks ago. His name was Finn Thornton. He was 34, reckless enough to take a job undercover for the railroad company investigating payroll theft. Brave enough to keep his cover even when men with guns started asking questions, and learning softness in a way that surprised him. He had dark hair that fell across his forehead, lean build from years of hard work, and hands that were steady when he cooked, and steadier when he needed them to be. Cassandra had chestnut hair she kept tied back with a strip of leather, green eyes that missed nothing, and a way of standing that said she had fought for every inch of ground she owned. She wore a simple brown dress today, sleeves rolled to her elbows, boots caked with dust. Finn wore a faded blue shirt and dark trousers, an apron tied at his waist even now, because he had been in the middle of prepping supper when the storm hit. The trading post belonged to a man named Horace, who was currently huddled behind the counter with his wife, both of them praying the roof would hold. Cassandra moved away from the door and crossed to the window. Through the swirling dust, she could see the vague shapes of other buildings, the church steeple bent at an angle that made her stomach drop, the livery stable door flapping loose. Someone shouted outside, and she saw a figure stumble past, hunched against the wind, heading for the telegraph office. She squinted. It looked like the operator, a thin man named Bess, who never left his station unless something urgent had come through. Her heart kicked. A telegram. She glanced at Finn, who was watching her from across the room. He met her eyes and something passed between them, a current that had been building for weeks. He pushed off the wall and came to stand beside her.
Storm like this, nobody should be outside.
His voice was low, careful. He always sounded careful when other people were around.
Bess just ran for the office. Something came through.
Finn tensed. She saw his jaw tighten.
Could be nothing.
Could be everything.
She did not look away. She had learned to read him in small ways, the flicker of worry in his eyes, the way his shoulders shifted when he was weighing a risk. She knew he was hiding something. She had known for a week. What she did not know was whether it had anything to do with her, or whether it was something else entirely, something dangerous. The wind screamed, and a shutter tore loose somewhere, clattering across the street like bones. Horace called out from behind the counter. Horace said they should all stay put until the wind died. Cassandra nodded, but did not move. Finn leaned closer.
If you go out there, I am coming with you.
I did not ask you to.
I know.
She smiled despite everything. He had a way of doing that, making her smile when the world felt like it was falling apart. She pulled her shawl tighter and headed for the door. Finn followed. Outside, the wind tried to rip them off their feet. Cassandra grabbed the doorframe and hauled herself forward. Finn caught her elbow and steadied her. They moved together, heads down, pushing through the storm. The telegraph office was only 50 yards away, but it felt like a mile. Dust stung her eyes and filled her mouth. She could barely see. Finn kept his hand on her arm, guiding her. They reached the office and stumbled inside. Bess was at his desk, a sheet of paper in his hand, his face pale. He looked up when they entered. Bess said the telegram was for Cassandra Miller. Her stomach dropped. She crossed to the desk and took the paper. Her hands shook. Finn stood behind her, close enough that she could feel the heat of him through her dress. She read the message once, then again. The words did not change. It was from a lawyer in San Francisco. Her late husband's lawyer. The husband she had told everyone died of fever 5 years ago. The husband who had actually run off with another woman and left her with nothing but debts and shame. The telegram said he was dead now. Truly dead. Killed in a bar fight 3 months ago. And it said more. It said he had taken out a claim in her name before he left. A silver claim in Nevada. And the claim had paid out. She was owed $6,000. The money was waiting for her in a bank in Carson City. She could barely breathe. $6,000. Enough to build the school herself. Enough to never worry again. Enough to be free. She turned to Finn.
He is dead.
Finn frowned.
Who?
My husband. My late husband. Except, he was not late. He just left. And now, he is dead.
She laughed, a sharp sound that hurt her throat.
Cassandra.
There is money. A claim he took out in my name. $6,000.
Finn stared at her. She saw something shift in his face. Something careful and controlled.
That changes things.
Yes,
For you.
for everyone.
She wanted to say more, but the door slammed open, and a man stepped inside. Cassandra recognized him immediately. Addison Blackwood, militia captain, smiling and polite in a way that made her skin crawl. He was tall, clean-shaven, dressed in a dark coat and hat, and he always looked like he was about to tell a joke. He was not. He was clearing the way for a mining claim, using hired guns to run off homesteaders and small claimants before the railroad payday hit. She had heard the rumors. She had not believed them until she saw the way the sheriff looked the other way when Blackwood's men rode through town. Blackwood smiled at her now. Blackwood said he hoped he was not interrupting. Cassandra folded the telegram and slipped it into her pocket.
Just checking on the lines.
Blackwood's smile widened. Blackwood said he had heard she was planning to leave town, that her claim was not working out.
You heard wrong.
Blackwood tilted his head. Blackwood said it would be safer if she reconsidered, that the windstorm was just the beginning of trouble. Finn stepped forward.
She said, "No."
Blackwood looked at him, still smiling. Blackwood said he did not believe they had met, that he was always interested in new faces in town.
Finn Thornton. I cook at the railroad camp.
Blackwood's smile did not change, but his eyes sharpened. Blackwood said he had heard the railroad was hiring investigators, that there had been trouble with payroll theft. Finn said nothing. Cassandra felt her pulse spike. She looked at Finn and saw the truth in his face. He was the investigator. He had been undercover the whole time. Blackwood chuckled. Blackwood said it was a small town, that secrets did not keep long, and he would hate to see anyone get hurt over a misunderstanding. He tipped his hat and walked out. The door slammed shut behind him. Cassandra turned to Finn.
You are not a cook.
I am. I just also work for the railroad.
And you did not tell me.
I could not.
Could not or would not.
Both.
She wanted to be angry, but all she felt was tired.
He knows.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means we are in trouble.
The wind howled, and something heavy crashed against the side of the building. Bess looked up from his desk. Bess said they should get back before the storm got worse. Cassandra nodded. She and Finn left the office and fought their way back to the trading post. Inside, Horace and his wife were still huddled behind the counter. Cassandra sat on a crate near the window. Finn sat beside her. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then Finn reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it to her.
I was going to show you this tonight.
She unfolded it. It was a report, written in Finn's tight handwriting. It listed names, dates, amounts stolen from the railroad payroll. At the top of the list was Addison Blackwood. He had been skimming funds for months, using the money to hire gunmen and buy out claims. The sheriff was on the list too, paid to look the other way. Cassandra looked at Finn.
You have proof.
I do.
And if you turn it in,
The railroad will send marshals. Blackwood will be arrested.
and you
My job will be done.
will leave.
He did not answer. She folded the paper and handed it back.
There is something else. My ex, the one who left. His brother is here.
Here.
He came through last week. He thinks I owe him money. He thinks the claim should go to him.
Does he know about the telegram?
Not yet. But Bess will talk. Everyone talks.
Finn leaned back against the wall.
So we have Blackwood, the sheriff, and your ex's brother, all circling,
Yes.
and a windstorm that has us trapped.
Yes.
She laughed again, softer this time.
You picked a bad time to fall for me.
I did not pick the time. It picked me.
She looked at him. His eyes were steady, dark and warm, and she felt something shift in her chest.
What do we do?
We survive the storm. Then we deal with the rest.
The wind roared, and the building shook. Cassandra leaned against him and felt his arm come around her shoulders. For the first time in weeks, she let herself feel safe. The storm lasted 3 hours. When it finally died, the sun was setting, and the town looked like it had been picked up and shaken. Cassandra stepped outside and surveyed the damage. The church steeple was down. Half the livery stable roof was gone. The saloon had lost its front porch. People emerged from buildings, calling to each other, checking for injuries. She saw the sheriff standing in the street, talking to 2 of Blackwood's men. Her stomach tightened. Finn came up beside her.
We need to move fast.
Agreed.
I am going to the railroad office. I will send the report by wire tonight.
And I am going to the bank in the morning. I will withdraw the money and pay off anyone who has a claim on my homestead.
Your ex's brother will not like that.
I do not care.
Finn looked at her for a long moment.
You are incredible.
I am tired.
That too.
She smiled. He leaned down and kissed her forehead, quick and gentle. Then, he turned and headed toward the railroad office at the edge of town. Cassandra watched him go. She felt the telegram in her pocket, the weight of it like a promise. She turned and headed for her cabin. It was a small place, one room with a stove and a bed and a table she had built herself. The wind had torn part of the roof loose, but the walls were solid. She lit a lamp and sat at the table. She pulled out the telegram and read it again. $6,000. Freedom. She thought about Finn, about the way he looked at her, the way he made her feel like she was not alone. She thought about the school she wanted to build, the children who needed it. She thought about the life she could have if she was brave enough to take it. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. She stood and crossed to the door. When she opened it, she found a man standing on her porch. He was in his 40s, stocky with a thick beard and cold eyes. She recognized him. Daniel, her late husband's brother. Daniel said he had heard about the telegram.
Word travels fast.
Daniel said the money belonged to the family, that she had no right to it.
The claim was in my name.
Daniel said his brother had taken it out, that she had done nothing to earn it.
Your brother left me with nothing. I earned every cent just by surviving him.
Daniel stepped forward. She did not move. Daniel said she would regret this, that he had friends in town, and she was making a mistake.
Get off my porch.
Daniel smiled, a mean smile that did not reach his eyes. Daniel said he would be back. He turned and walked away. Cassandra shut the door and leaned against it. Her hands were shaking. She forced herself to breathe. She had faced worse. She would face this too. She went to the stove and made coffee. She sat at the table and drank it slowly, letting the heat steady her. Outside, the night settled over the town, quiet and cold. Finn reached the railroad office and found the manager still inside, sorting through damaged paperwork. The man looked up when Finn entered. The manager said the storm had taken out 2 telegraph poles, but the line was still working.
I need to send a wire. Urgent.
The manager nodded and handed him a form. Finn wrote quickly, encoding the report in a way the railroad office in Tucson would understand. He listed the amounts, the dates, the names. He made sure to include Blackwood and the sheriff. When he finished, he handed the form to the manager. The manager read it, his eyes widening. The manager said this was serious, that it could get people killed.
It already has.
The manager nodded and went to the telegraph key. Finn waited while the message went out, the clicking of the key loud in the quiet office. When it was done, the manager turned back. The manager said the Tucson office would respond by morning, that marshals would be sent as soon as they confirmed the information.
How long?
The manager said 3 days, maybe 4.
We might not have that long.
The manager looked at him. The manager said to be careful, that Blackwood had eyes everywhere.
I know.
Finn left the office and headed back toward town. The street was dark, most of the lamps blown out by the storm. He kept to the shadows, moving quickly. He was halfway to the trading post when he heard footsteps behind him. He turned and saw 3 men. He recognized 2 of them, Blackwood's hired guns. The third was a stranger. They spread out, blocking the street. One of the men said Blackwood wanted to talk.
I am busy.
The man smiled. The man said it was not a request. Finn weighed his options. He could run, but they would catch him. He could fight, but 3 against 1 was bad odds. He nodded.
Lead the way.
They walked him to the saloon. Inside, Blackwood was sitting at a table near the back, a glass of whiskey in front of him. He smiled when Finn entered. Blackwood said he appreciated Finn joining him, that he had a proposition.
I am listening.
Blackwood leaned back in his chair. Blackwood said he knew Finn was working for the railroad, that he had been asking questions, and he admired a man who did his job well.
But
Blackwood chuckled. Blackwood said but there were better opportunities, that the railroad paid poorly and treated their men like mules, and he could offer something more lucrative.
Such as?
Blackwood said $10,000 to walk away, to forget what he had seen, and to tell the railroad the investigation was a dead end.
That is a lot of money.
Blackwood said it was, and all Finn had to do was leave town in the morning.
And if I say no?
Blackwood's smile did not change. Blackwood said that would be unfortunate, that accidents happened, especially during storms. Finn looked at him for a long moment. Then he stood.
I will think about it.
Blackwood nodded. Blackwood said he would need an answer by dawn. Finn walked out. The 3 men followed him to the street and then let him go. He headed for Cassandra's cabin, his mind racing. He needed to warn her. He needed to get her out of town before Blackwood made his move. He reached her cabin and knocked. She opened the door, her face pale.
Daniel was here.
I know. We need to leave.
Leave.
Blackwood just tried to bribe me. When I say no, he will come after us.
When?
I already sent the wire. The marshals are coming. But we need to survive until they get here.
She looked at him.
Where do we go?
The old line shack. 2 miles south. It is defensible.
And if they follow us?
Then we make a stand.
She nodded.
Give me 5 minutes.
She went inside and packed quickly. A bag with food, water, a blanket, and a rifle. Finn waited on the porch, watching the street. When she came out, they left together, moving fast through the dark. The line shack was a squat wooden building with a single room and a fireplace. It had been abandoned for years, used only by railroad workers during the winter. Cassandra and Finn reached it just after midnight. They went inside and bolted the door. Finn checked the windows, making sure they were secure. Cassandra lit a fire and set up their supplies. They sat on the floor near the fireplace, shoulders touching.
How long until the marshals arrive?
3 days. Maybe 4.
Can we hold out that long?
If we are careful.
She looked at him.
Why did you take this job?
Because someone needed to. The railroad is the only thing keeping this territory connected. If men like Blackwood bleed it dry, people suffer.
Noble.
Practical.
And now?
Now, I wish I had never come here.
Liar.
He smiled.
All right. I am glad I came. I am not glad you are in danger because of it.
I was in danger before you. Daniel would have come either way.
But Blackwood.
Blackwood would have come for my land eventually. At least now we have a chance.
He looked at her, the firelight catching in her green eyes.
You are not afraid.
I am terrified. But I am also angry. And anger is useful.
It is.
She leaned her head on his shoulder.
Tell me about after.
After
the marshals come. After Blackwood is arrested. What do you do?
I report back to Tucson. They send me to the next job.
And if you did not?
Did not what?
Report back.
I would be unemployed.
You could cook.
I could.
I could use a cook at the school.
You have not built it yet.
I will.
I know you will.
She lifted her head and looked at him.
Stay.
Cassandra.
I know it is fast. I know we barely know each other. But I know enough. Stay.
He cupped her face in his hands.
If we survive this, I will stay.
We will survive.
Promise.
Promise.
He kissed her, slow and careful, and she kissed him back. When they pulled apart, she was smiling.
That was a terrible first kiss.
Why?
Too much talking beforehand.
Want to try again?
Yes.
This time, the kiss was better. When they finally stopped, the fire had burned low, and the night was deep and cold. They lay down together, wrapped in the blanket, and tried to sleep. Outside, the wind picked up again, rattling the shutters. Dawn came gray and cold. Cassandra woke first and checked the windows. The landscape outside was still, the salt flats stretching white and empty to the horizon. She saw movement in the distance and her stomach dropped. Riders, 5 of them, coming fast. She shook Finn awake.
They found us.
Finn sat up and grabbed his rifle. He moved to the window and looked out.
Blackwood and 4 men.
What do we do?
We hold them off.
For 3 days.
If we have to.
He checked the rifle and handed her a revolver. She took it, her hands steady. They moved to opposite sides of the room, covering the front and back windows. The riders stopped 50 yards out. Blackwood dismounted and walked forward, his hands raised. Blackwood called out, saying he just wanted to talk, that there was no need for trouble. Finn did not answer. Blackwood stopped 10 yards from the shack. Blackwood said he knew Finn had sent the wire, that it did not matter, because the railroad would never believe a cook over a militia captain.
They will believe the evidence.
Blackwood smiled. Blackwood said evidence could be destroyed, witnesses could disappear, and Finn was making this harder than it needed to be.
Go back to town.
Blackwood shook his head. Blackwood said he had a better idea, that Finn could come out and they could settle this like men, or he could send his men in, and things would get messy.
You are outnumbered.
Blackwood gestured to his men. Blackwood said he did not think so. One of the men raised a rifle. Finn fired first. The shot took the man in the shoulder, and he fell. The other 3 scattered, taking cover behind rocks and scrub. Blackwood ran back to his horse and mounted. He rode out of range and shouted orders. The men began to circle the shack, firing at the windows. Cassandra ducked as a bullet shattered the glass above her head. She returned fire, aiming carefully. One of the men yelped and dropped. Finn fired again and again, keeping the others pinned. The fight lasted 10 minutes. When it was over, 2 of Blackwood's men were down, and the other 2 had retreated. Blackwood rode back and forth, shouting. Blackwood said this was not over, that he would be back with more men, and they could not hold out forever. Then he rode away, taking his remaining men with him. Cassandra lowered her revolver and leaned against the wall. Her hands were shaking now. Finn crossed to her and pulled her into his arms.
You did good.
I shot a man.
You defended yourself.
It does not feel good.
It should not.
She pressed her face against his chest and breathed.
How long until he comes back?
A few hours. Maybe less.
We need help.
The town will not come. The sheriff is bought.
Not everyone.
Who?
The railroad workers. The ones you have been investigating with. They know you. They trust you.
They are 2 miles north.
Then we go get them.
We leave the shack. We lose our cover.
We stay. We die.
He looked at her.
You are right.
I usually am.
Noted.
They gathered their supplies and left the shack, moving fast across the salt flats. The sun was climbing, and the heat was building. Cassandra kept looking over her shoulder, expecting to see riders, but the horizon stayed empty. They reached the railroad camp just before noon. The workers were finishing lunch. A group of 20 men gathered around a cook fire. Finn walked into the camp, and they looked up. One of them, a big man with a red beard, stood and grinned. The man said he thought Finn was dead. That word was Blackwood had put a price on his head.
Not dead yet.
The man laughed. The man said, what did Finn need?
Help. Blackwood is coming. We need men who can fight.
The man looked at the others. The man said half the camp owed Finn for covering their pay when the company shorted them, and they were in. 10 men stood. Finn nodded.
We hold the line shack until the marshals arrive. 3 days.
The man said they could do 3 days. They armed themselves and followed Finn and Cassandra back to the shack. They fortified the building, stacking rocks and wood for cover, setting up firing positions. By the time the sun was setting, they were ready. Blackwood came at dusk, this time with a dozen men. The fight was brutal. Bullets tore through the walls. Men shouted and fell. Cassandra fired until her hands were numb. Finn moved from window to window, directing the defense. The railroad workers fought like cornered animals, fierce and desperate. When the sun finally set and Blackwood pulled back, 3 of his men were dead, and the rest were wounded. The defenders had lost 2 men. Cassandra sat on the floor, her back against the wall, and stared at the ceiling. Finn sat beside her.
2 more days.
We can do 2 more days.
Yes.
She reached for his hand and held it. The second day was worse. Blackwood came at dawn with 20 men. He had recruited gunmen from the neighboring camps, men who did not care about the law or the railroad, men who fought for money. The defenders held but barely. By noon, half the railroad workers were wounded. Finn took a bullet in the arm and kept fighting. Cassandra ran out of ammunition and switched to Finn's rifle. The shack was falling apart. The walls riddled with holes, the roof sagging. When Blackwood finally pulled back at sunset, they were out of food and nearly out of bullets. Finn sat on the floor, his arm wrapped in a torn strip of cloth, blood seeping through. Cassandra knelt beside him and checked the wound.
It went through. You will live.
Good to know.
We need the marshals.
Tomorrow. They will be here tomorrow.
We have to last until tomorrow.
We will.
But his voice was hollow. She looked around the room. The railroad workers were slumped against the walls, exhausted. 2 more had died in the last fight. They were down to 8 men, counting her and Finn. She stood and walked to the window. The sun was setting, painting the salt flats red. She saw movement in the distance, and her heart sank. More riders. She counted 15. Blackwood was bringing everything he had. She turned to Finn.
He is coming again.
Now.
Yes,
We are out of ammunition.
I know.
We cannot hold.
I know.
He stood, his face pale.
Then. We run.
Where?
The railroad tracks. If we can reach them, we can flag down a train.
That is 2 miles.
We run fast.
She looked at the workers.
Can they make it?
They will have to.
He called the men together and explained the plan. They gathered what little they had and left the shack, moving east toward the tracks. The riders saw them and gave chase. Cassandra ran, her lungs burning. Finn was beside her, his wounded arm hanging loose. The workers spread out, some falling behind. She heard shots and did not look back. The tracks appeared ahead, 2 silver lines cutting across the flats. She saw smoke in the distance. A train. She ran harder. Finn shouted and waved his arms. The train was a freight hauler, moving slow. The engineer saw them and blew the whistle. The train began to slow. The riders were closing. Cassandra reached the tracks and scrambled up the embankment. Finn pulled her onto the train as it rolled past. The workers followed, hauling themselves aboard. The riders fired. One of the workers fell. Cassandra pulled her revolver and fired back, emptying the cylinder. The train picked up speed. The riders fell back. She collapsed on the floor of the freight car, gasping. Finn sat beside her, his head in his hands.
We made it.
Barely.
Still counts.
She laughed, a broken sound. Around them, the workers were checking each other, binding wounds. The train rolled on, carrying them toward Tucson. They reached Tucson 2 days later. The marshals were waiting. Finn gave them the full report, the evidence, the names. The marshals listened and nodded. The lead marshal said they would ride for Whispering Pines immediately, that Blackwood would be arrested by the end of the week.
What about the sheriff?
The marshal said him too.
And the homesteaders he ran off?
The marshal said the railroad would compensate them, that the company took payroll theft seriously. Finn nodded. Cassandra stood beside him, quiet. When the marshals left, she turned to him.
It is over.
Yes.
What now?
Now. We go back.
To Whispering Pines.
If you still want to build that school,
I do.
then we go back.
They took the train north. The trip was long and quiet. Cassandra slept against Finn's shoulder. When they arrived in Whispering Pines, the town was different. The marshals had done their job. Blackwood was in custody, the sheriff was gone, and a new deputy had been appointed. People came out to greet them, shaking Finn's hand, thanking him. Cassandra stood on the platform and looked at her town. It was battered and broken, but it was hers. She turned to Finn.
Help me build it.
The school.
All of it.
I am not a builder.
You are a cook. We will need food.
Fair point.
And I need you.
Also fair.
He smiled and kissed her, right there on the platform, with half the town watching. She kissed him back and did not care who saw. When they pulled apart, she was grinning.
That was better.
Third time is the charm.
Or fourth. I lost count.
Does it matter?
No.
They walked together toward her cabin. The sun was setting, painting the salt flats gold. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the telegram, now creased and stained. She looked at it one last time, then let it go. The wind caught it and carried it away across the flats. Finn took her hand.
No regrets.
None.
Good.
They reached the cabin and went inside. That night, they sat by the fire and made plans. The school would be built on the north side of town, near the church. It would have 2 rooms, a bell tower, and a porch for the children to play. Finn would cook for the workers during construction. Cassandra would oversee everything. They would marry in the spring, a small ceremony with the town invited. It was a good plan, a simple plan, a plan that felt like home. A week later, Daniel showed up. He came to the cabin at night, drunk and angry. He pounded on the door and shouted. Daniel said Cassandra owed him, that the money was his by right, and he was not leaving without it. Finn opened the door. Daniel swung at him. Finn ducked and hit him once, clean and hard. Daniel went down and did not get up. Finn dragged him to the street and left him there. The new deputy found him in the morning and ran him out of town. Cassandra watched from the porch as Daniel rode away, slumped in the saddle.
That is the last of it.
You sure?
Yes.
Good.
She turned and went inside. Finn followed. They had work to do. The school was not going to build itself. The school took 6 months to build. The town pitched in, donating lumber and labor. Cassandra worked every day, hammering nails and painting walls. Finn cooked for the workers, keeping them fed and happy. By the time the bell tower was finished, everyone in Whispering Pines had a hand in it. The dedication ceremony was held on a Saturday in October. The whole town came. Cassandra stood on the porch and looked at the crowd. She saw faces she knew, people who had doubted her, people who had helped her, people who had survived the storm with her. She cleared her throat and spoke.
This school is for everyone. For your children and your neighbors. It is a place to learn and grow. It is a place to build a future. Thank you for believing in it. Thank you for believing in me.
The crowd applauded. Finn stood beside her, his arm around her waist. She leaned into him and smiled. After the ceremony, they walked to the train station. The afternoon train was due in 10 minutes. They stood on the platform and watched the horizon. The train appeared, a black line against the sky, trailing smoke. It rolled into the station and stopped. The conductor stepped down and tipped his hat. The conductor said they were running on time, that it was a good day for travel. Finn nodded.
It is.
The conductor looked at Cassandra. The conductor said he had heard about the school, that it was a fine thing she had done.
Thank you.
The conductor climbed back aboard. The train whistle blew, loud and clear. Cassandra turned to Finn.
We did it.
You did it.
We did it.
He smiled.
All right. We did it.
What now?
Now. We live.
Here.
Here.
She kissed him, slow and sweet, and the train whistle blew again. They pulled apart and laughed. The train began to move, rolling out of the station. They watched it go, standing together on the platform. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Cassandra leaned her head on Finn's shoulder.
I love you.
I love you too.
Say it again.
I love you.
Good.
They stood there until the train was out of sight, until the sky was dark and the stars were out. Then they turned and walked back to town, hand in hand, ready for whatever came next. Winter came early that year. Snow fell in November, a rare thing in Arizona. The school closed for a week while the town dug out. Cassandra and Finn spent those days inside, playing cards and cooking stew. On the 7th day, the snow stopped. They bundled up and walked to the schoolhouse. The roof had held. The windows were intact. Inside, the desks were lined up in neat rows, waiting. Cassandra ran her hand along one of them and smiled.
It is real.
It is.
I used to think I would never have this. A place of my own. Something I built.
You have it now.
We have it.
Yes.
They locked up and walked back through the snow. That night, Finn proposed. He did it simply, kneeling by the fire with a plain gold band he had bought in Tucson.
Marry me.
Yes.
That was fast.
I decided a long time ago.
When?
When you kissed me in the shack.
I thought you hated that kiss.
I did. Then I did not.
Makes sense.
It does to me.
They married in December, a small ceremony in the church with the whole town watching. Cassandra wore a simple blue dress. Finn wore a clean shirt and his best boots. The preacher was an old man with shaking hands, but his voice was steady. He pronounced them man and wife. They kissed, and the congregation cheered. Afterward, there was a dance in the schoolhouse. Someone brought a fiddle. Someone else brought whiskey. The floor shook with dancing. Cassandra danced with Finn until her feet hurt. Then they slipped out and walked home through the snow. The moon was full, lighting the flats silver.
This is the happiest I have ever been.
Me too.
Do not let it end.
I will not.
They went inside and closed the door. The fire was low. Finn fed it until it roared. They sat together, her head on his chest, listening to the wind.
Tell me about China.
What do you want to know?
Everything.
That will take a while.
We have time.
He told her about the village where he was born, the river that ran through it, the mountains beyond. He told her about his mother, who sold vegetables in the market, and his father, who died when Finn was 10. He told her about the ship that brought him to California, the cramped hold, the sickness, the weeks at sea. He told her about the railroad camps, the work, the men he had known. He told her things he had never told anyone. She listened and did not interrupt. When he finished, she kissed him.
Thank you
For what?
for trusting me.
Always.
They fell asleep by the fire, wrapped in blankets, warm and safe. Spring came, and with it new students. Cassandra opened the school on a Monday in March. 12 children showed up the first day. By the end of the week, there were 20. She taught reading and arithmetic and history. She taught them about the Constitution and the states and the war that was tearing the country apart. She taught them to think and question and argue. Finn visited at lunch, bringing sandwiches and fruit. The children adored him. They followed him around like ducklings, asking questions about China and the railroad and cooking. He answered patiently, never condescending, always respectful. One afternoon, a girl asked if he missed his home.
Sometimes. But this is my home now.
The girl nodded, satisfied. Cassandra watched from the doorway and felt her heart swell. This was what she had wanted. A life, a family, a place to belong. In April, word came that the war had turned. The Union was winning. The papers were full of names and battles and casualty lists. Whispering Pines sent no soldiers, being too small and too far. But the town felt the weight of it. Men came through on the train, heading east to fight. Some never came back. Cassandra kept teaching. Finn kept cooking. They did what they could. In May, a letter arrived for Finn. It was from California, from a man he had worked with on the railroad. The man wrote that the company was hiring again, that they needed cooks for a new line through Nevada. The pay was good. The work was steady. Finn read the letter twice, then folded it and put it away. Cassandra found it later, tucked in his coat pocket. She did not say anything. That night, they sat on the porch and watched the stars.
You should go.
What?
The railroad. If you want to go, you should go.
I do not want to go.
The pay is good.
The pay here is fine.
Finn.
Cassandra, I am not leaving.
But if you want to,
I do not. I want to stay here, with you, in this town, teaching children and cooking stew and fixing the roof when it leaks. I want this life, not that one.
you are sure.
I am sure.
She believed him. They never spoke of the letter again. Summer was hot and dry. The salt flats shimmered in the heat. Cassandra closed the school in June and spent the days working in the garden she had planted behind the cabin. Tomatoes and beans and squash grew in neat rows. Finn built a fence to keep the rabbits out. They worked side by side, sweating and laughing. In the evenings, they sat on the porch and drank cold water and watched the sun set. It was a simple life, but it was theirs. In July, Cassandra realized she was pregnant. She told Finn over breakfast. He dropped his fork.
Are you sure?
Yes,
When?
February. Maybe March.
A baby.
Yes,
Our baby.
yes.
He stood and pulled her into his arms. She laughed and cried at the same time. They held each other for a long time, not speaking. Later, They walked to the schoolhouse and sat on the porch.
We need a bigger house.
We do.
And a crib.
And diapers.
And patience.
That too.
They made plans. Finn would build an addition to the cabin, 2 more rooms and a proper kitchen. Cassandra would keep teaching until December, then take the winter off. They would manage. They always did. In August, Addison Blackwood went to trial in Tucson. The evidence was overwhelming. He was convicted of theft, conspiracy, and attempted murder. The judge sentenced him to 20 years. Cassandra and Finn did not attend the trial, but they read about it in the paper.
Good.
Yes.
He deserves worse.
He got what he got.
I know.
She folded the paper and set it aside. That chapter was closed. In September, the town held a harvest festival. There were games and races and a pie contest. Cassandra entered her apple pie and won 2nd place. Finn competed in the shooting contest and lost badly. They laughed about it all the way home.
You are a terrible shot.
I am a cook, not a gunfighter.
Still.
Still nothing. I can hit a target when it matters.
Like when?
Like when I saved your life.
You shot 1 man.
1 is enough.
She kissed him, and he kissed her back, and they forgot about the contest. October came, cool and clear. The school was full again. Cassandra taught with a growing belly and tired feet. The children were curious and kind. They brought her flowers and asked questions about the baby. She answered as best she could. Finn visited every day, bringing lunch and encouragement. One afternoon, a boy asked if the baby would be a boy or a girl.
I do not know.
The boy said it would be a boy, because boys were stronger.
Girls are just as strong.
The boy disagreed. Cassandra smiled and let it go. She had learned to pick her battles. In November, the first snow fell again. The school closed for a day. Cassandra and Finn stayed inside, warm and content. She sat by the fire, knitting a blanket. He sat beside her, carving a wooden rattle. They did not talk much. They did not need to. That night, she woke to a pain in her side. She lay still, breathing through it. It passed. She went back to sleep. In the morning, she felt fine. She did not mention it to Finn. There was no reason to worry him. The baby was not due until February. She had time. December came, cold and bright. Cassandra closed the school for the winter. She spent her days resting and preparing. Finn finished the addition to the cabin. The new room smelled of fresh wood and paint. He built a crib and a rocking chair. Cassandra filled the drawers with tiny clothes she had sewn. Everything was ready. On Christmas Eve, they sat by the fire and exchanged gifts. She gave him a new coat. He gave her a silver locket. Inside was a photograph of the two of them, taken in Tucson.
When did you do this?
Last month.
I love it.
Good.
She put it on and did not take it off. They ate a simple dinner and went to bed early. Outside, the snow fell, soft and steady, covering the town in white. Inside, they were warm and safe and together. The baby kicked. Cassandra put Finn's hand on her belly.
Feel that.
I do.
Strong.
Like the mother.
And the father?
Maybe.
They fell asleep, her back against his chest, his arm around her. The fire burned low. The wind whispered outside. The world was quiet and still. January brought cold winds and frozen mornings. Cassandra moved slowly, her belly heavy. Finn hovered, worried and attentive. She waved him off.
I am fine.
You are sure?
Yes. Stop fussing.
I am not fussing.
You are.
A little.
She laughed and kissed him. The baby was due any day. The midwife, a tough old woman named Ruth, stopped by twice a week to check on her. Ruth said everything was progressing well, that the baby was in the right position, and Cassandra was strong.
When?
Ruth said soon, maybe a week, maybe 2.
That is not helpful.
Ruth shrugged and said babies came when they were ready. Cassandra sighed. Finn made tea, and Ruth left. That night, the pain started again. This time, they did not stop. Cassandra woke Finn.
It is time.
Now,
Yes.
I will get Ruth.
He ran through the snow, his boots crunching. He pounded on Ruth's door. She opened it, already dressed. Ruth said she had been expecting this, grabbed her bag, and followed him. By the time they returned, Cassandra was pacing the cabin, breathing hard. Ruth took charge, barking orders. Ruth told Finn to boil water and fetch clean towels. He obeyed, moving fast. The hours blurred together. Cassandra labored through the night, Ruth guiding her, Finn holding her hand. The pain was immense, but she did not scream. She breathed and pushed and focused. Just before dawn, the baby came. A girl, small and perfect. Ruth wrapped her in a blanket and handed her to Cassandra. Ruth said she was healthy, that Cassandra had done well. Cassandra held her daughter and cried. Finn sat beside them, his hand on Cassandra's shoulder, staring at the tiny face.
She is beautiful.
She is.
What do we call her?
Rose.
Rose.
Yes.
Rose Thornton.
Rose Thornton.
The baby opened her eyes and looked at them, solemn and curious. Cassandra kissed her forehead. Finn kissed them both. Ruth cleaned up and left, muttering about needing sleep. The sun rose, painting the cabin gold. The three of them sat together, quiet and complete. Outside, the world went on. Inside, everything had changed. February was a blur of sleepless nights and endless feedings. Rose cried and slept and cried again. Cassandra walked the floor with her, singing soft songs, rocking her gently. Finn helped when he could, changing diapers and heating bottles. They were exhausted and deliriously happy. The town celebrated with them. Women brought food and blankets and advice. Men tipped their hats and smiled. The school children made a banner that read "Welcome Baby Rose" and hung it on the schoolhouse door. Cassandra cried when she saw it.
This town.
They love you.
They love us.
Yes.
In March, the weather warmed. The snow melted, turning the streets to mud. Cassandra began planning to reopen the school in April. Finn suggested waiting until May, giving her more time with Rose. She agreed. They needed the time. Rose was growing fast, her eyes bright and curious. She smiled at them, a gummy, toothless grin that made them laugh.
She is perfect.
She is.
I never thought I would have this.
What?
A family. A real family.
You have it now.
We have it.
April came, warm and dry. Cassandra reopened the school. She brought Rose with her, setting up a small cradle in the corner of the classroom. The children were fascinated, taking turns rocking her gently. Cassandra taught with Rose sleeping nearby, her voice calm and steady. It was chaos, but it worked. Finn stopped by at lunch, bringing food and helping with Rose. The routine settled. They found their rhythm. In May, a letter arrived from the railroad company. They were offering Finn a promotion, head cook for a new line through Colorado. The pay was triple what he made now. The work was steady for years. Finn read the letter once, tore it in half, and threw it in the fire. Cassandra watched, but said nothing. That night, she asked him about it.
You did not even consider it.
No,
Why not?
because this is where I belong.
The money.
We have enough.
Finn.
Cassandra, I chose this life. I chose you. I chose Rose. I am not leaving. Not for money. Not for anything.
You are stubborn.
Yes,
I love you.
I love you too.
She kissed him, and the conversation ended. Summer was hot again, the salt flats baking under the sun. Cassandra closed the school in June. She spent the days with Rose, teaching her to crawl and laugh. Finn worked in the garden, growing vegetables and herbs. They lived simply, saving what they could. In July, the town held another festival. Cassandra entered her apple pie again and won first place. Finn competed in the shooting contest and lost again.
You never learn.
I do not need to.
You are terrible.
I am consistent.
They laughed and danced and forgot the heat. Rose slept in Cassandra's arms, her tiny fingers wrapped around her mother's thumb. People stopped to admire her, saying she had Cassandra's eyes and Finn's hair. Cassandra smiled and thanked them. That night, they walked home under the stars.
This is enough.
What is?
This. All of it. The town. The school. Rose. You. It is enough.
It is more than enough.
Yes.
They went inside and put Rose to bed. She slept soundly, her breathing soft and even. Cassandra and Finn sat on the porch, holding hands, watching the night. The wind whispered across the flats. The stars burned bright. Everything was quiet and still and perfect. In August, the town council voted to fund the school permanently. Cassandra would receive a salary, enough to live on comfortably. The news came as a surprise. The mayor delivered it himself, standing on her porch with his hat in his hands. The mayor said the town was grateful, that the school was the best thing to happen to Whispering Pines, and they wanted to make sure it lasted.
Thank you.
The mayor nodded and left. Cassandra stood there, stunned. Finn came outside.
What did he want?
The school is funded.
What does that mean?
It means we are staying. It means this is real. It means we made it.
We did.
She turned and kissed him, hard and fierce. He kissed her back, lifting her off her feet. Inside, Rose began to cry. They broke apart, laughing.
Duty calls.
Always.
They went inside together. A family. A team. A home. September brought cooler air and the return of students. Cassandra taught with Rose playing at her feet. The children had learned to be gentle, to watch out for her, to include her. Rose babbled and clapped and made everyone smile. Finn visited every day, bringing lunch and stories. The classroom was loud and messy and full of life. Cassandra had never been happier. One afternoon, a new family moved to town, a young couple with 3 children. They enrolled in the school immediately. The mother thanked Cassandra, saying they had moved to Whispering Pines specifically because of the school.
We heard about it in Tucson. We wanted our children to have a good education.
Cassandra felt a swell of pride. This was what she had built. Not just a school, but a future. A reason for families to come and stay. That night, she told Finn.
You did that.
We did that.
Mostly. You.
I could not have done it without you.
You could have.
Maybe. But I did not want to.
Good.
They sat together, Rose asleep between them, and watched the fire burn low. October came, crisp and clear. The town prepared for winter. Finn repaired the roof and stocked the woodshed. Cassandra preserved vegetables and made quilts. Rose took her first steps, wobbling across the floor into Finn's arms. He caught her and lifted her high.
Look at you.
She giggled and reached for his face. Cassandra watched, her heart full. This was everything she had ever wanted. In November, the first snow fell. The school closed for a day. Cassandra and Finn built a snowman with Rose, her tiny hands packed in mittens. She laughed and threw snow and fell down in the drifts. They carried her inside, pink-cheeked and happy. That night, they sat by the fire, Rose asleep in her crib, and talked about the future.
Should we have another?
Another. What?
Baby.
Do you want to?
I think so. Eventually.
Then, we will.
You make it sound easy.
It is easy. We decide, and we do it.
You are oversimplifying.
Maybe, but it is true.
She laughed and leaned against him. The fire crackled. The wind howled outside. Inside, they were warm and safe and loved. December arrived, bringing the 2nd anniversary of their wedding. They celebrated quietly, just the 3 of them, with a simple dinner and a long walk through the snow. Rose rode on Finn's shoulders, squealing with delight. They stopped at the schoolhouse and looked in the windows. The desks were empty, waiting for students. The banner the children had made still hung on the wall, faded but intact.
2 years.
Feels like longer.
In a good way.
Yes.
I cannot imagine my life without you.
You do not have to.
Promise.
I promise.
They walked home, Rose asleep on Finn's shoulder, the snow falling soft and steady. That night, after Rose was in bed, they sat together by the fire. Cassandra wore the silver locket Finn had given her. Inside was the photograph of them, young and uncertain, standing outside the courthouse in Tucson. She looked at it and smiled.
We were so different then.
We were.
Scared,
Yes,
but we made it.
we did.
She closed the locket and kissed him. The fire burned low. The house was quiet. Outside, the world was white and still. Inside, everything was warm and right and home.